When you start your pinch pot, you're going to need to roll and squeeze the clay as much as possible. If you have loose clay, there's a possibility that there will be air bubbles inside. If there are air bubbles in your clay, what can happen is it can actually explode in the kiln or ruin your piece. So you need to really make sure you squeeze and roll as much as possible. Once your clay has been rolled into a nice ball, you need to start putting your thumb down the center and pinching your way around the ball, making sure that all the walls, top, sides are all nice and even. You don't really need to worry about cracks right now because you can fix those. What you really need to worry about is just making sure that you have a nice, even vessel. We're going to be building your animal off of this, so it's really important that you have the shape that you want, but you need the clay to be even so that it'll bake evenly in the kiln. Once you're done making the pinch pot, you can start smoothing out the outside of your pinch pot, either with your thumb or a metal rib tool or a wooden rib tool or any other tool, basically. And you really need to go over all the cracks and you're going to smooth them all out. These cracks can get worse as your clay dries, so you need to make sure they're all smooth as possible before you start working. That includes the inside and bottom of your piece. You really don't want any of those cracks at the bottom, or else it's really easy for your clay piece to fall apart. Once you're done with all that, you're going to start thinking about adding heads and arms and legs to your piece. So you're going to start measuring out different clay pieces, for example, the head, and you're going to make sure that all the air bubbles are out of the head as well, pinching and squeezing it until it's the right size. Once you're done smoothing out your head, you're going to take your piece, measure it onto your body, and you're going to start scoring. Scoring is where you roughen up the clay with a needle tool or something sharp. You're going to do that to both sides, the body and the head, and that allows the slip to attach easily to the clay. Slip is a wet clay like glue, and you're going to basically glue the two sides together. You need to make sure you press really hard so that it gets really squeezed in there. You don't have to worry about excess slip coming out because that will be worked off as you start smoothing it with a wooden rib tool or your fingers. But you really need to make sure that you smooth it well and that you don't leave any pieces that are open because cracks, like I said before, could make it very easily to come apart even before it goes into the kiln. Anytime you have a piece that needs to be attached, whether it's a wing or an arm or a leg, you really need to make sure you score and you slip all the pieces. Even if you think it's a very small piece, such as an eye or a beak, these can come off as your clay is drying. Don't be fooled by the fact that it might stick because it's wet on wet. The moment that it dries, it'll fall off. That's why we really need to use slip and you need to score it. You also need to make sure that you smooth out all the edges after you do that. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a big piece or a small piece. You just need to make sure that all your pieces are attached. Otherwise, they will fall off before it goes into the kiln. Your needle tool is a really good tool for when you want to do detailed work. Right now, I'm going around my rooster's neck, adding some feathery neckline, and then using the wooden tool to create indentation so that it looks like they're separate but yet attached. Make sure that you use all the tools that you have available for your project. Each one of them is very helpful for creating your animal. You need to be careful when working with flat and long pieces. Those can actually bend and crack very easily, so you need to be very gentle while working with it. You can't have dry clay when you're doing it, and you need to make sure that you have something to support it as it dries. Otherwise, it will fall and crack. It's nothing serious, but once it's cracked, it's actually very hard to fix that. So you need to be thinking as you're working what you need for the future, what you need to help stabilize your piece, whether it's a tail or a wing. You really need to be thinking these things out. These will go under your planning part of your rubric, and it's very important that you're really being conscious and deliberate with your clay. Once all your main elements are on, this is the time for you to get really creative and add some texture and some designs to your animal. I hope you guys have fun.